Hello everyone, myself Deepak Gupta, logging on this platform of College Dekho Learn, and today we will continue our journey of labor cost accounting. And the topic to be taken on today is the treatment of idle time. So this word idle looks to be in the first case in a negative sense, but that is not what we are going to discuss. We will have its positive and negative implications. So before I turn into this concept of idle time, we just have to revise this thing that whenever we talk of the labor cost, so ideally this labor is the direct labor cost or the productive wages cost. And normally when we pay the productive wages to the factory worker, they're either being paid on the basis of the number of pieces that they have produced, that is the output they have created, or they are being paid on the basis of the time that they have consumed, that is the labor rate, or we use the word, better word is time rate system. And these both systems can either be undertaken without any concept of incentive, but normally they are also with incentives, and those incentives can be given by various methods, but the primary used methods of paying incentives are the Halsey premium method and the Rowan plan that we have already discussed in our last session. So the point is the whether it's a piece rates concept or the time rate system, and normally जहाँ अनस्किल्ड लेबर है, जहाँ क्वांटिटी में बहुत ज़्यादा स्ट्रेस नहीं है क्वालिटी पे, वहाँ पर पीस रेट सिस्टम फॉलो होता है लोअर वर्कर्स के साथ. बट जहाँ पर आउटपुट मेजरेबल नहीं है, जहाँ क्वालिटी बहुत बड़ा इशू है, क्वालिटी के बिना प्रोडक्ट की आउटपुट बेकार हो जाती है, वहाँ पर टाइम रेट सिस्टम में फॉलो होता है. तो वी आर मूविंग इनटू अ रिजीम इन अ कॉर्पोरेट सेक्टर वेयर normally the workers are being paid on a time rate system, and along with the time rate system they are being incentivized with either the Halsey plan, the Rowan plan, and the primary use plan is the Rowan plan. Why I am stressing this? That a company always decides about the time which a normal worker should take to create the output, and we use the word standard time. And then we also measure the actual time which he has undertaken to create that output, and based on their comparison we decide whether the incentives are to be given or not. But our focus here is that when we talk of this actual time, we have to measure this actual time, and this actual time has to be measured as either through the concept of time card or through the concept of job card. So what they basically do denotes that we try to measure how much time a worker has spent in the industry, in the factory. So we can create that data of time spending. Either we make a worker specific card where from the date of his entry into the premises till his departure from the premises, we always note that how much time he has devoted on which machinery or which department, or we should say which job. And vice versa can be that we will have a job specific card, and all those different workers who are working on that job on a particular day, we make daily entries of the workers which they have spent time on that particular job. So we either create a job specific card where the details of the various workers working on a particular job is created, or we create a worker specific time card where his total stay in the factory premises is recorded, spent or classified, spent on different jobs which he has undertaken during the day. But whatever is the case, if we say that the normal working hours are 9 hours and the worker seemed to have spent around 2 hours safe on job A, he then shifted to job B and spent around 2.5 hours, and then he shifted on his last assignment to job C where he spent around 3 hours. So what we are seeing here, that there is a record of only 7.5 hours for the worker. Our question is that because he is being paid for 9 hours on a particular day, but output that is measurable is only 7.5 hours, then where are the balance 1.5 hours are going? Because that is the cost to the factory. So before we answer this, we also have to acknowledge the worker is a human and there has to be human values and human rights that has to be accounted for. और अगर इतने हैवी वर्ड्स ना बोलूँ तो सिंपल टर्म्स में मशीन भी अगर बहुत देर काम करती है थक जाती है तो ह्यूमन जो थकेंगे तो उन्हें कहीं ना कहीं हमें एक लंच ब्रेक तो देना पड़ेगा जब तक कि फ्यूल नहीं आएगा वो काम कैसे करेंगे और उन्हें कुछ टेम्परेरी ब्रेक्स भी होने चाहिए जस्ट अ हॉल्ट एक लंच से पहले और एक लंच से बाद और उनको हम लोग अगर नाम दे दें टी ब्रेक्स स्नैक ब्रेक्स तो एटलीस्ट एक बिफोर लंच और एक आफ्टर लंच इवनिंग में छुट्टी से पहले ये दो भी तो होंगे और उसके अलावा ह्यूमन एक्सक्रीटा भी तो है उन्हें जाना तो पड़ेगा बाथरूम वगैरह तो उनके वॉशरूम्स के चाहे वो सेल्फ क्लीनिंग हो चाहे वो वॉशरूम्स हो चाहे वो कुछ और इमरजेंसी हो उसका भी तो उन्हें टाइम देना पड़ेगा तो नॉर्मली व्हेन वी फिक्स द स्टैंडर्ड टाइम वी प्रोवाइड फॉर दीज थिंग्स now how they provide it is industry specific as per the industry guidelines or I should say as per the industry's personal policy they decide about these time breaks. Some will be too much strict and the time allowed will be much less and others will be much easier to work with having a better culture of work and they may be providing convenient breaks from the work. But still, if we presume to understand the concept that there is a concept of half an hour of lunch break, two sessions of 15 minutes each for the team and a total concept of 15 minutes for approximately 2 or 3 times of washroom presuming he will take around 5 minutes in each visit so there is this concept कि यहाँ पर आधा घंटा लंच में चला गया आधा घंटा दो टी ब्रेक्स में चला गया और 1/4 आवर अप्रॉक्सीमेटली वॉशरूम्स में चला गया सो वी कैन ऑलवेज लुक फॉर अ 1.25 hours which is accounted for. So here out of the 1.5 hour there is an accounting of 1.25 hour. So the only missing link is looks to be 0.25 hours that is around 15 minutes. So there will always be a question कि 15 मिनट कहाँ गए कारण क्या है कि 15 मिनट एक वर्कर के हिसाब से बहुत छोटे लगते हैं कोई डिस्कस कर रहा तो लगता है आप बहुत स्ट्रिक्ट हो गए बट अगर एक बड़ी फैक्ट्री के अंदर 2000 वर्कर्स हैं 500 वर्कर्स भी लेके चलें तो 500 वर्कर्स अगर हर वर्कर 15 मिनट वेस्ट करेगा तो इट कम्स अप टू बी 7500 मिनट्स और अगर इसको अप्रॉक्सीमेटली देखे चलेंगे तो मोर देन 100 आवर्स सो अप्रॉक्सीमेटली 125 आवर्स पर डे की वेज वेस्ट हो जाएगी तो अगर एक सिंपल फैक्ट्री के अंदर एक 100 रुपीज़ पर आवर की एक बेसिक वेज रेट पे रखूँ ना तो इतने सारे मतलब करीब 6000 घंटों से ज़्यादा यानी कि एक ही दिन की फैक्ट्री के अंदर 5-6 लाख रुपए का नुकसान हो जाएगा वेस्टेज हो जाएगी दैट नो आउटपुट बट स्टिल द वेज इज बीइंग गिवन सो फ्रॉम हेयर वी डेराइव दिस वर्ड ऑफ आइडल टाइम तो प्लीज इट इज नॉट कि आप खाली बैठे हुए हो कॉन्सेप्चुअली आइडल टाइम इज डिफाइंड एज द टाइम for which payment is made, for which the payment is made, but no output is made, but no output is done. So, in the above scenario, the 9 hours में से जो आपकी output है, that was only for 7.5 hours. Which was presumed to be productive hours. And this balance of 1.5 hour is the time period which is non-productive, but still the payment has been made and which we use the word idle time. So this 1.5 hour is the idle time for which though the payment is made, but no work is done. So if we take it as a 100 rupees per hour wage, then out of the total wage of 900 per worker per day, 750 is no problem. It is always a direct labor cost. But this cost of 150, where this cost of 150 is to be charged because it has been paid, in which account, in which cost it is to be transferred, that is the question. That is the question. So I hope you are now well versed, or you now understand what is idle time and what is the problem that is forcing us to take this session. That idle time is not, we are saying that it is a wastage of time, but what we are worried about, that it is the time for which the payment has been made, but because no output is done, so we cannot charge it to the direct labor cost. So because the payment is made, there is an accounting issue. So for where and how and to whom this cost is to be transferred, that is our point of action. So what the solution is, that we have to classify this idle time in two ways. That is, one idle time which is wasted on the washrooms or the lunch or the tea breaks. They are a normal course of procedure, and that will be done with all workers and in all corporate sectors. So they are presumed to be that such idle time is due to normal reasons, and that is why such idle time is known as normal idle time. And the time period of 0.25 hours, out of this 1.25 hours was the normal idle time, and the cost of such normal idle time is 125 rupees. So we will treat 125 separately, and this cost of 25 rupees will be treated separately, and hence the total cost of idle time which is being paid will be accounted for. So this time is due to abnormal reasons. Now these abnormal reasons can be due to workers inefficiency, कि 15-25 मिनट वो अपने दोस्तों से बातें कर रहा है, फोन पे बातें कर रहा है, या कहीं और टाइम वेस्ट कर रहा है, या फिर वो अनअवॉइडेबल रीजंस हो सकते हैं. वो अनअवॉइडेबल रीजंस यानी कि कंटिजेंसी हो सकती है. और वो कंटिजेंसी में ये भी हो सकता है कि वर्कर की तबीयत खराब हो गई. कंटिजेंसी में स्टॉक आउट भी हो सकता है कि रॉ मटेरियल ख़त्म हो गया, तो स्टॉक आउट भी हो सकता है. पावर कट भी हो सकता है कि बिजली चली गई. ये भी हो सकता है कि मशीन ख़राब हो गई हो तो मशीन आउट हो गया हो. तो मशीन ख़राब हो गई, पावर चली गई, पावर ब्रेकडाउन हो गया, स्टॉक ख़त्म हो गया, वर्कर की तबीयत ख़राब हो गई, और भी बहुत सारी कुछ, और एक कोई नेचुरल प्रॉब्लम आ गई कि मतलब अर्थक्वेक आ गया, आपने 10 मिनट के लिए फैक्ट्री खाली करा ली. ऐसे कुछ भी रीजंस हो सकते हैं. So because there are abnormal reasons, and we have always discussed that cost due to abnormal reasons is always a abnormal cost. And whenever there is an abnormal cost is never a part of, it is never a part of cost account. तो ये जो 25 रुपीज़ है, यानी कि टोटल 900 में से सिर्फ 875 ही कॉस्ट अकाउंट्स पे जाने चाहिए. बाकी जो 25 रुपीज़ है, दे विल बी ट्रांसफर्ड, दे विल बी डेबिटेड टू कॉस्ट अकाउंटिंग प्रॉफिट एंड लॉस अकाउंट. सो दैट विल बिकम वन ऑफ द रीजंस ऑफ रिकन्सिलिएशन, कि जब आप फाइनेंशियल अकाउंट्स मेंटेन करोगे तो वहाँ आपने कॉस्ट चार्ज करी होगी या एक्सपेंस पेड करे होंगे लेबर पे 900, लेकिन जब आप कॉस्ट अकाउंट्स क्रिएट करोगे तो कॉस्ट अकाउंट्स में 875 ही चार्ज होंगे. तो देयर विल बी डिफरेंस ऑफ प्रॉफिट ऑफ 25 रुपीज़, और देयर विल बी मोर एक्स्ट्रा प्रॉफिट्स ऑफ 25 रुपीज़ इन कॉस्ट अकाउंट्स ड्यू टू अंडर चार्जिंग ऑफ लेबर कॉस्ट, which is due to abnormal idle time. So this 25.25 hours 15 minutes is known as abnormal idle time, and that has been transferred to the costing profit and loss account. It means these 25 rupees will be used to reconcile the profit as per cost accounts with the financial accounts, and that topic will be taken up in future sessions to come. So now we presume कि 900 में से 25 रुपये तो आपने कॉस्ट में से हटा दिए, रह कितने गए 875 रुपीज़। 875 में से 750 आप कहाँ लेके चले गए, डायरेक्ट लेबर में। अब इशू किसका बच गया, सिर्फ 125 रुपीज़। And this 750 rupees is being charged for 7.5 hours. So we say that this cost of 125 rupees can be treated in two ways. Either charge it as a factory overheads, यानी कि हम इस 125 रुपीज़ को फैक्ट्री ओवरहेड्स की तरह ट्रीट कर लें और डायरेक्ट लेबर को डिस्टर्ब ना करें. But normally this option is quite unacceptable because of the basic simple reason that no worker can do any kind of output without these lunch breaks or the tea breaks or the washroom breaks. So such things are inherent to maintain the desired level of efficiency from the worker. And therefore, these costs are a kind of labor cost, though we don't see them coming in the first instance. And if you don't see them in the first instance, then it should normally the fault of the planner. So whenever we are planning about the labor cost, we should always have taken into account these kind of non-performing hours. That is why if we are paying 875 rupees, so this actually 875 rupees is being paid for 7.5 hours of output. It means this whole cost will be charged as direct labor cost, that is the productive wages cost, and hence the normal idle time cost increases the effective rate per hour. The effective rate per hour, it means अगर हमने कॉस्ट ली होती 750 रुपये 7.5 घंटे के हिसाब से, तो रेट था 100 रुपीज़, बट दैट इज़ नॉट द केस. द कॉस्ट इज 875 for 7.5 hours, and now if you calculate it, this cost will be 875 divided by 7.5. So this is coming out to be approximately 117 rupees. So we can say that there is a effectively 17% increase in direct labor cost effectively due to normal idle time. And if you see this idle time of 7.5 hours in a total of 9 is 1.1/6, that is 16.67. और यहाँ भी अगर मैं कैलकुलेट करूँ तो ये जो फिगर है, अगर मैं इसे एग्जैक्ट कैलकुलेट करूँ तो ये 116.67 ही था, और ये इसलिए 16.67% है. तो आप यहाँ नोटिस करेंगे कि जितना टोटल टाइम में से आप आइडल टाइम वेस्ट कर देते हो, यानी कि नॉर्मल आइडल टाइम अपॉन में टोटल आवर्स पेड, एंड दैट विल बी नॉर्मल आइडल टाइम परसेंटेज. तो जितनी नॉर्मल आइडल टाइम परसेंटेज है उतनी ही दैट विल बी इक्वल टू इंक्रीज in labor hour cost. So a company will always try to reduce the normal idle time so that the labor cost increases less, and therefore more and more companies are trying to push to reduce this normal idle time cost एंड दैट इज वाई दे आर ऑलवेज पुशिंग कि आप वर्कर को एक फिक्स्ड टाइम ब्रेक की जगह, तो नई पॉलिसी ये है कि आप वर्कर को एक फिक्स्ड आधे घंटे का ब्रेक की जगह उन्हें उनकी चॉइस पर लंच ब्रेक दे दो, तो वो जब मर्जी जाएं जब मर्जी आए। तो दे आर व्हेन यू सी अ टारगेट देख आधे घंटे का लंच ब्रेक है, देन यू ऑलवेज पुट दैट एट नॉन वर्क। आधे घंटे आप काम ही नहीं कर रहे हो, आपको पता लंच ब्रेक है। जो लोग लंच नहीं भी कर रहे वो भी कई बार उस लंच ब्रेक को लेकर यूज करते हैं किसी और पर्पज के लिए। सिमिलरली यू आर नॉट सेइंग कि आप वॉशरूम में इस टाइम जा सकते हो या आप इस टाइम टी ब्रेक ले सकते हो। तो न्यू कॉर्पोरेट सेक्टर हैज टेकन अ रिवेंज वे, a different explosive way to reduce this normal idle time cost by making these breaks free for the workers. So it is a worker choice that they can go out as many times as they want without any fixed time breaks. And they presume that if we do so, then the worker may not be using whole 15 minutes for the tea or whole 15 minutes for the washrooms or whole half an hour for the lunch break. So there is normally quite a chance where the effective normal time is less in such non-competitive or to say non-compressive and work environment than on a conservative. That is why this modern approach of working hours is presuming to be better equipped to reduce the normal time cost in comparison to the old conservative approach where a fixed time breaks were used, because they presumed that if we allow the workers this dignity or this freeness, then they will always misuse the time, and that how this perception is changing. And that is why we have seen from the data as published from various journals that this free work culture or this free breaks period has allowed to reduce the normal time percentage, and hence the effective direct labor cost has fallen down in comparison to the old conservative approach. So I hope you are clear with what I have been discussed with you. And this idle time concept, though it is small, but it is very effective and very important for the people. So if we summarize the concept of idle time, सिंपल भाषा में आइडल टाइम क्या है? वो टाइम जिसकी आपने पेमेंट करी है लेकिन वर्कर उसे की आउटपुट नहीं दे पाया, और ये आउटपुट जो है वो वर्कर का डिफॉल्ट नहीं हो सकता, उसमें डिफॉल्ट वर्कर की इनएफिशिएंसी हो सकती है। जस्ट टू कवर दैट पॉइंट, उसमें फैक्ट्री की मिस प्लानिंग हो सकती है कि आपका पावर ब्रेक डाउन हो गया, स्टॉक आउट हो गया, मशीन खराब हो गई, या कोई कंटिजेंसी हो सकती है जैसे कि कोई अर्थक्वेक की वार्निंग आ गई। और इसके अलावा कुछ नॉर्मल ह्यूमन प्रोसीजर्स हैं जो लंच और टी ब्रेक्स हैं, एंड दैट इज व्हाई instead of discussing all of them at par, we have classified that which reasons are abnormal, that is which are unplanned, and therefore the such idle time is known as abnormal idle time, and the cost of abnormal idle time is not a part of direct labor cost, it is not a part of cost accounting, it is charged separately through the costing profit loss account, and hence only debited in financial accounts. But the other factors, which primarily are human factors, which are always foreseen, which are always inherent to create the output, they will be deemed as normal idle time, and we will presume that the time paid, or the should say the wages paid for such time, is a inherent part of the direct labor cost, and hence such normal idle time cost not will increase the effective labor cost and effective labor hour cost, and that is why more and more companies will pursue different modes and ways to reduce this idle time wastage, or I should say idle time cost, and thereby having less impact on their profitability. On this note, this is Deepak Gupta signing off.